the COASA board, parents, students, staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the official opening of the Italian Bilingual School at its permanent home at the COASA Meadowbank campus. My name is Thomas Camporeale and I'm the General Manager of COASA and I'll be your MC for this morning. May I begin by introducing our school principal, Mr. Robert Ruggieri, to address you.
Good morning and welcome everyone to an absolutely perfect day. Couldn't ask for a better day weather-wise, couldn't ask for a better day event-wise. It is an extremely important day for IBS, a significant milestone in the journey. What I'd like to say to all of the parents and friends here, there are so many supporters of the school. It actually, you're not going to believe it, leaves me speechless. Yeah. John, we've actually got John Booth from the TWT here this morning. We've obviously got a huge number. I just pointed out John only because the local newspaper has supported our school in its initial move, which is a significant thing in the Ryde community. So it's good to have the TWT here, making sure that we're going to be in the paper even more. I've been involved in education for around about 37 years and I've probably been in about 8 different schools in that time. And I've been very privileged to work with a number of exceptional staffs and exceptional children. I've now been at IBS, this is my 5th year, and parents know, parents understand where I come from, and the kids do too. I've never been in a school like IBS in that 37 years. I have because I've been here for 5 years. These are the most amazing children and our staff are the most amazing teachers. We don't just teach, we actually live education. Our children experience education. And the best thing is that they experience it bilingually, in 2 languages. We've just come back from Italy. How long ago? Yeah, that's exactly the answer. Because I forgot. It's been around about 5 weeks, and I was talking to our Vice Captain, Susanna Gillard, and I was saying to her, you know, were we in Italy? And she said the same thing to me. She said, Mr. Ruggieri, it feels like it was a dream. We're really there. We were there for 3 weeks. We were actually in an Italian school doing schoolwork. And let me tell you, did we find out that Australian teachers are pretty good? Yeah, we did. Does that mean that we found out Italian teachers were pretty bad? No. Just they teach a different style and we really appreciated the way that we get taught in Australia. But we also learned a lot of things about how they teach in Italy, didn't we? It was terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce to you to the children of IBS. And they will now stand and they will face the flags and we will do both the Australian National Anthem and the Italian National Anthem.
Thank you, children. Thank you, everybody. I would like to acknowledge that we are here today on Aboriginal land. On behalf of COASIT, I show my respects to the traditional custodians of the land and the present Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who now reside within this area. Desidero ricordare che siamo qui riuniti su terra aborigena. A nome del COASIT desidero ufficialmente mostrare il mio rispetto ai custodi tradizionali di questa terra e i loro discendenti. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled this morning to have the Honourable Peter Garrett, Minister for School Education, Minister for Early Childhood and Youth, here with us to officially open the school. And could you please join me in welcoming the Minister? I would also like to welcome Dr. Sergio Martes, the Italian Consul General of Sydney. The Honourable Victor Dominello, Member for Ryde. Mr. Lorenzo Fazzini, President of COASIT. I have quite a list to get through of other special guests that I would like to mention, and if I could ask you to hold your applause till the end. And in alphabetical order, the Honourable John Alexander, Member for Bennelong, Nina Konomos from the DEC, Amanda Davis from the DEC, Professor Bruno Di Biase, the Honourable Marie Ficara, who hasn't joined us yet, but I believe she should be here shortly, and Marie is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Premier of New South Wales, Commendatore Giuseppe Finn, Mr. Tom Galea, Mr. Malcolm Hunt of the AIS, Professor Joseph Lobianco of the University of Melbourne, who's made a trip from Melbourne to be with us today. Dottoressa Cristina Mignati, dirigente scolastico from the Italian Consulate General in Melbourne, who's also made a trip from Melbourne to be with us this morning. Dr. Robert Maloney, Senior Lecturer at Macquarie University. Felice Montrone, Deputy Chairperson of the Community Relations Commission. Henry Parolin of the DEC. Luisa Perugini of SBS Radio. Dr. Antonio Rubino, Senior Lecturer of the University of Sydney. John Sidoti, Member for Drummoyne. Armando Tornadi, Editor of La Fiamma. Senator Francesco Giacobbe, and Guy Zangari, Shadow Minister for Citizenship and Communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Thank you indeed to all our special guests. Your presence here affirms your commitment to IBS. Many of our special guests have been supporters of the school for many, many years, and it's wonderful that you are here today to share with us this momentous occasion. I would now like to introduce the Italian Consul General, Mr. Sergio Martes, to address you.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. I'm going to be really, really brief. When I first visited the school, and it was still in Casa d'Italia, I was told that one of the basic principles of the school, from a didactical point of view, is one face, one language. So I'll stick to my mother tongue in what I'm going to say now. I like this principle. Buongiorno a tutti. Credo che oggi noi siamo qua presenti e testimoni per quello che sarà un fatto storico, che potrà essere veramente apprezzato nella sua importanza solo nei decenni a venire. Poco più di 10 anni fa, 8 alunni per questa scuola, oggi circa 150. Io credo che il cambio di sede fisica per la scuola, da quello che era stato inizialmente un auspicio, sia diventata una sorta di necessità, di vero e proprio imperativo categorico. È stata una scelta probabilmente difficile, perché bisognava trovare delle risorse finanziarie, però credo che sia stata una scelta di grande visione, che assicurerà a questa scuola una giusta stabilità e la giusta espansione che questa scuola stessa merita. Questa scuola è e sarà sempre di più un centro visibile, un centro importante per la formazione, io sono sicuro, della classe dirigente di questa città. E se questo avverrà, l'obiettivo di chi ha fondato questa scuola verrà raggiunto. Però vorrei anche cercare di mettere in luce un altro aspetto importante di questa scuola, della scuola in generale forse, che è quella di formare uomini, donne, cittadini che siano consapevoli. Beh, io credo che questo obiettivo, cioè formare dei cittadini, persone colte, che abbiano soprattutto senso critico verso la città, verso la realtà che li circonda, sia forse la cosa più importante. E che se anche solamente questo avverrà, ossia questa scuola riuscirà a formare dei cittadini colti, critici e soprattutto bilingui, l'obiettivo principale, portatori anche di due culture, perché credo che l'obiettivo minimo di chi ha fondato questa scuola, di chi ci lavora, di chi crede in essa, sarà comunque stato raggiunto. Vi auguro una splendida giornata e spero che per tutti questi ragazzi che si diventino dei cittadini come quelli che abbiamo appena delineato e magari uno di loro possa diventare ministro o anche chissà primo ministro. Bocca al lupo a tutti, veramente.
Consul's a little bit taller than I am. Thank you, Consul. I'd now like to introduce the Honourable Victor Dominello, Member for Rye.
Thank you. I'll also be very brief. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of our beautiful land and pay my respects to the elders both past and present, to all the distinguished guests behind me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Can I just ask, boys and girls, can you put up your hand if you were born here? Yeah? Most of us? Can you keep your hand up if you have Italian background? Yeah, most of us as well. I'm like that. I'm like you in the sense that I've got an Italian background. I was born here, but guess what? You're smarter than me because I can't speak Italian that well. Io parlo poco italiano, and I'll be very brief. I should learn Italian because I live just down the road. So if you make too much noise, I'll hear you. So welcome to my neighbourhood, literally. But of all, who can remember what they got for Christmas last year? Yeah, it was a good present. Yeah, I bet. And who's thinking about their Christmas present, what Santa's going to give them this year? It's pretty good. They've all been very good. Well, you think about all the Christmases until you're the age of 18, okay? And you think about all the great presents you're going to get until the age of 18. But I want you to remember this. Who's really smart here? Yeah, I bet you all smart. Yeah, I bet you are. And yeah, you can speak 2 languages. You must be smart. If you can remember this, at the age of 18, I want you to go to your parents and say, of all the Christmas presents, all the birthday presents I got over the last 18 years, the best present you ever gave me was the gift of language, the gift of learning, an opportunity to learn 2 languages. So, if you can remember that, and give your mum and dad a kiss and a thank you when you turn 18 and remember this occasion, you will truly make their day. Thank you very much for having me. Congratulations to all involved, and it's great to have you here in my backyard. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I'll now introduce the President of COASA, Lorenzo Pazzini, to address you.
Distinguished guests, parents, teachers, staff, students, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the COASA Meadowbank campus inauguration. Today we celebrate the official opening of the COASA Meadowbank campus, the permanent home of our Italian bilingual school. I am overwhelmed with joy and emotion as I stand before you on the grounds of the Waru Medegal people on which the school stands today. An area filled with historical references, where our nearby station was called Hellenic, but later changed to Meadowbank. Interestingly, we also had Meadowbank Public Baths just down the road, established in 1895 as a recreation destination, but it all got too smelly. Around 1943, and the public baths were closed. This site is more than bricks and mortar. To many, it is a reminder of an odyssey of hard work and endless struggles. But today, we're not here to regret the past. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to change our future. Today, we celebrate the start of a new chapter for the pioneers of Italian bilingualism. We have with us today one of the persons who dreamt of the concept of IBS some 20 years before it opened, and some 30 years before we moved to these permanent places at Meadowbank. For 20 years this man worked incessantly, burning the midnight oil to realise this vision, to pursue it at any cost, and to make IBS the great school that it is today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would imagine that a couple of heavy people here today are without doubt Commendator Patricia and Giuseppe. I thank both Mrs. Finn and Mr. President. I thank both Mr. and Mrs. Finn for their contribution to this dream. I also wish to mention the late Console Generale Fabio De Nartis and Miss Ivana Smaniotto, Miss Sonia Giardares, Miss Rita Finn, Padre Adriano Pittarello, and Miss Susanna Schio for having worked seriously on the founding IBS committee. I know that the school will grow and that we shall manage to expand to the model to Year 12, thus making these premises a school and a centre of excellence. Today we celebrate these facilities which stand as a symbol of the assistance that both state and federal governments have provided COSI for this bilingual school project, and as a reminder of the laborious and tenacious nature of the many collaborators, including students, parents, teachers and principals, that made this dream come true. I am sure that in these premises we are already educating the well-balanced future leaders of our country, and I know that after this inauguration, our students and parents will be keen to get on with the job of realising themselves through the great opportunities that lay before them. A special thanks to the wonderful parent community. Your ongoing commitment and support has been incredible. Thank you for entrusting the education of your children to IBS. And last but never least, to our future ambassadors, our wonderful student group. I trust that you are enjoying and continue to enjoy the school, and I hope that your time with us will continue to be filled with learning, fun and positive experiences. I thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Lorenzo. It now gives me great pleasure to invite the Honourable Peter Garrett, Minister for School Education, Minister for Early Childhood and Youth, to address you and to officially open the school.
I've had a lot of experience with this. Good morning, everybody, and it is a huge pleasure for me to be here today to celebrate the opening of the Italian Bilingual School's new campus just 2 days before Festa della Repubblica, which I know is an extremely important occasion in the rich history of Italy. What a wonderful, wonderful occasion today is. Can I also acknowledge the Aboriginal custodians of country, to the many distinguished visitors and guests that are here today, the Italian Consul General Sergio Martez, Robert Ruggieri, Principal, Lorenzo Fazzini, President of COSAZA, Thomas Cambriorali, General Manager, from the Parliament in Canberra, the member for Bennelong, John Alexander. He and I are both probably pleased that we're in slightly warmer climes this morning, and many other distinguished guests that are here as well. I'm delighted to be here, and when I was given the opportunity to come and open this school, I said I really wanted to do it. A number of reasons, but I think for me one of the most important reasons is a recognition of how important and what a great contribution the Italian community has made to our nation. And it's entirely appropriate that people are given the opportunity to learn this language and continue the connections with their Italian heritage. And certainly Italian is one of the commonest community languages that we do have in Australia. I just want to speak a little bit about IBS. It's the first school, really, I think, in the country to provide bilingual and bicultural education in English and Italian, and it's played a pretty important role in the settlement story. And so I'm really pleased that we've been able to support the construction of new and refurbished facilities through our infrastructure funding programs. The fact is that our nation's students deserve access to a great education, and that includes the opportunity to study community languages, including Italian. And the Italian Bilingual School helps us celebrate Australia's multiculturalism. It contributes to the rich diversity of our national life, and of course, as Victor Dominello has said to you, it bestows a gift on these young students here as they will be able to speak that language and relate closely to their culture. The fact is that we cannot afford to be a monolingual nation. Now, we've developed a world-class Australian curriculum from foundation to year 12. There's been such a lot happening in education, so it's an exciting time to be the National Education Minister. And the national curriculum's been pretty important because we want to have the opportunity for all our students to learn from the best possible standards of curriculum right across the nation. And I do want to advise you that the consultation process for the Australian curriculum Italian has finished, and it's expected that the curriculum will be complete and published later this year. And I think that's a really good and important step because it means that the same common learning entitlement for students around the nation who wish to learn Italian will be in place. By the way, the learner pathway for Italian will be pitched to second language learners who don't have a background in the language. And that's important for kids from other backgrounds who may have an interest to have a learner pathway there in the curriculum so that they can start that learning journey. I know that we've had an emphasis on building the nation's Asian language capability in the Australian and the Asian Century White Paper. There's no question, I quite often talk to school groups and communities and forums about the National Plan for School Improvement, that you would have seen this word Gonski around the place. And one of the things I say to them is that the age that these young children in front of me are growing up in is so profoundly different from the period that many of us here on the stage and sitting here at the school grew up in one sense, and one sense that I want to be really clear about. The dominant nations of this century, who we will have to relate to, communicate fully with, and work productively with, are the Asian nations in our region of China and India. They will be the two dominant economic and political forces in our nation, and it's important that young Australians have that opportunity to be well equipped for that engagement. That doesn't mean, though, that we attach less importance to the study of other languages, and that includes, of course, Italian. It really means that the more languages you have the opportunity to learn, the more opportunities there are available to you. And as your principal has said, Robert has said, the bilingual aspects of the school lay the foundations for successful learning of further languages in later life. And I think that's absolutely true. Just very quickly, on the broader education agenda that's in front of us, we improve facilities in every school around the nation. We've introduced a national curriculum. We've provided additional support for students with special needs. We've really focused on providing the opportunities for digital learning in the classroom, and of course now a national plan for school improvement focused on the needs of students in schools. And I'm pleased that the New South Wales Government, Premier O'Farrell and Minister for Education Adrian Piccoli have chosen to enable New South Wales students to take the benefit of the additional investment that would come from the new National Plan for School Improvement. Remember, we've set ourselves a goal of Australia being ranked in the top 5 in the world in reading, science and mathematics by 2025. And that's an important goal. It's one we need to reach, and it's one which we as a government are entirely committed to. Finally, just to say, before I conclude, how impressed I am with these students, how polite and attentive you are in sitting and listening to many long speeches from people in suits up on the stage. Now, it's all about these young people in front of us. I know that, and I recognise the great contribution that the teaching staff here make. I think that learning a language and being immersed in different cultures is inevitably going to bring benefits and gifts to the young people at this school. And the school also, I think, I want to acknowledge in closing, represents COASIT's decades of service to the Italian-Australian community, and I want to commend and acknowledge that contribution as well. So it's a great pleasure to open the Italian Bilingual Schools Meadowbank campus. I ask you all to think of the hundreds and thousands of students who will benefit from these facilities in the year to come. Thank you very much for having me.
Minister's a bit taller than me as well. Thank you very much, Minister. If I could ask the Minister, Minister Garrett, Lorenzo Fazzini and the Consul to please make their way to the admin area and to unveil the plaque and officially open the school at this wonderful site. I would ask you to just cast your attention over to the admin block.
That's what we're about to see is the turning on, the IBS light.
Very